I'm here for the Naked Truth with Nirvana.
Hey guys, hey.
Hey girl, hey. So we're here on Sunday afternoon. I decided I didn't want to go upstairs because it is way too hot up there. So you got my downstairs view today. How are you? How's your week been?
Good so far. My mother-in-law came to visit me for the weekend, which she does almost every other weekend.
She's very cute. I have met her. She's beautiful. She has eyes just like her son.
So that's pretty much it this week. I hurt my back really bad, so I haven't been able to go to the gym for the last 2 weeks.
How'd you hurt your back?
Moving stuff, like a case of water and trying to move the, we have a new washer and dryer, so I was trying to move the washer and dryer by myself. Wah, wah, wah.
Good. Yeah. I think I posted this, but a while ago, like a year, one of those Facebook year, whatever, was you doing the plank challenge.
Oh, yeah.
And it's just so funny how much you've taken on exercise since then.
I love it. I love it. It's one of my favorite things. I didn't think, I used to try to get out of working out or doing any kind of physical activity in high school. Like I would do anything not to have to do gym. And now I'm like, yeah, let's get it done.
Yeah, it's crazy. That's awesome. So I want to do really quick community celebrations. I'm sorry I didn't put this up until late this week, so we don't have a whole lot. But a couple that that nobody sent in, but that I wanted to address was we want to send our thoughts and prayers out to Jennifer and David Bleacher. David's mom passed away really suddenly this last week. So want to send them our love. Aubrey in Wonderland, it's her birthday today, which is awesome. And she posted something about how this was the first time in 18 years that she woke up this morning and didn't look at herself in the mirror and be sad that another year had gone by where she had gained or not lost weight. And that is such an incredible feeling. I've had that feeling. Have you had that feeling, Nirvana?
No.
Never.
No, not yet. Give me a year.
Yay. And also want to give a shout out to because she's my Amy and she's had a lot of shit going on that she's had to deal with that isn't fun. So I want to tell her I love her. She's I think drinking cider and eating pizza right now. So I asked her if she was doing it at the same time and she didn't answer me. So and Christine Teeny Tiny Tummy posted that Lorraine completed Lorraine Xena Warrior Princess completed the Disney virtual 5K. Penny Dittenber finally lost 100 pounds. It took her 10 months from 280 to 179. Congratulations, Penny. SJ is down 110 pounds and wearing a size medium shirt. Dang. And I just remembered, SJ, if you're watching this, that I forgot to send you your phone charger. So message me and let me know if there's still time before you leave to do that. I'm going to go to the post office. Lindsay Broussard. Okay, Lindsay, I'm getting a little tired of your skinny bee stuff. I mean, you're going down like a size every week that we do the Naked Truth. She went to the thrift shop for some size 4s because, she's a size 4.
Yeah.
And unknowingly tried on a 2, and guess what? It fit. So, and I'm just teasing. It just seems like every week you're going down another size. What comes after 0? Let's see. And then we had a couple on messages. So Stephen Lang got his surgery date, which is December 13th. And I think that's all I have. So congratulations, everybody. If you want to, sorry, my phone is ringing. If you want to ask questions, you can post them online. The little box should be up there on the right. Or you can message me at 714-625-5663. And we're ready to go.
All right.
So why not, just because I know Nirvana was on the Naked Truth a while ago. I don't remember, probably like 6 months or so.
Yeah.
And we ran out of time, shockingly. So we had her back this time, but I know there are people who are new to the community who don't know your story, and yours is kind of an unusual one. So do you want to start at the beginning and kind of tell us about that?
How to summarize my story.
Yes.
All right, so if you don't know me, I started off at 523 pounds. I'm currently at 314. I am next week 3 years out gastric bypass. So I will be 3 years out. Obviously, I have not lost all of my weight yet. So I am what people call the revision queen. So I've had one revision already, which was a band over bypass, which is where they put the lap band over your stomach.
I was just going to ask you, because didn't you have some complications or something with the RNY?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. So I had my gallbladder removed, and during my gallbladder removal, I had another stricture. So the bottom of my pouch was starting to close up completely, and he went to go dilate it, and it wouldn't go back down, so it didn't close. So I essentially have a one-way pass from my esophagus into my small intestine. So there's
okay. And so what did that result in? Like, what did that look like to you in terms of eating?
That means that I have zero restriction. If I want to eat a 6-inch sub, I can eat with the bread and all, like, okay. and not even blink an eye. So that means I can drink, this entire thing if I want to within like 10 minutes. I have no stop filter. There's no pyloric valve anyway because I have a gastric bypass. So that in terms of eating, that has just forced me to be more mindful what I put in because I can eat like a normal person again. Mm-hmm. So that's why we tried the band over bypass, and I had a lot of complications with that. It was eating through my stomach wall.
Explain to people what band over bypass is, because I wasn't familiar with that until you started talking about it.
It's not common.
No, it makes sense, but
it's not a common procedure. It is something I specifically asked for because it was less evasive. My husband is sick. You will hear him coughing in the background. I apologize. So it's where they put the lap band over my existing stomach. So with little tiny pouch I have, they put a lap band over top of it to force it closed. That worked. I had it in for a year. I lost exactly 30 pounds.
So how much did you lose? Sorry, how much did you lose RNY to band over bypass? A lot, like 200.
Yeah, I lost 76 by myself with the Weight Watchers before my surgery. So I lost 130 pounds with my gastric bypass.
Okay.
So
30.
Then I lost I should just say my lowest ever weight after my panaculectomy was 287. So I have gained back from there to 314. Mm-hmm. And I bounce between 314 and 200, like 300 and 320. That's what I bounce in between now, like pretty much all the time. So now I'm having another revision. The only other revision that is available to somebody like me, which is getting the gastric bypass revised into a duodenal switch, which is incredibly dangerous. It is not something for the lighthearted. You would have to have a lot of trust in your surgeon. There's a lot of stuff that goes into that, but we don't have time for that today. So if you want to learn about that, just go to my channel because I talk about it.
Yeah, she has a video. Yeah. Okay, but now with that, I'm gonna have one question about that. So it could possibly be 2 surgeries, right? Where they convert the RNY to a VSG and then they do a DS, and they don't know if they're going to do that 1 or 2 surgeries until you get in there.
So the issue is this surgery, because I'm a guinea pig. Like that's what I am, because he's never done this surgery. Obviously he's done duodenal switches and he's done VSGs and he's done a revision from RNY back to regular anatomy. So that's because you can put the gastric bypass back because you have that extra stomach down there, so you can get rid of it. Yeah, so you can put yourself back together like Frankenstein. Okay. So with me, it's a 6 to 8 hour surgery, and he's not really sure how my body's going to take being under that long. I've never been under that long. The longest I've ever been under is 5 hours, and that was when I had a complication. So he is just going to go in there and revert me back to normal and then remove the sleeve. So he's going to make the sleeve for me. And then if my body is like, hey, this is too much, that's a lot of shit you've done today, he's going to close me back up, leave the sleeve like it is, and then 2 or 3 months later on, he'll give me the DS.
Okay.
So it is a possibility. He won't know until it's done.
Yeah, right. Okay. All right. Well, I'm going to talk for a minute, too, because I asked people to send us some messages about how you've impacted their journey. So I wanted to read some of these to you. You okay with that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Embarrassed.
Might as well start crying. I haven't started crying already. Okay. So Gastric Rose says, Nirvana, your strength and perseverance pushes many of us to keep on to a better us. Thank you for sharing your journey with us. Love you. Gretchen says, Nirvana, your strength and openness has gotten me through some times. Glad to see you continue to share your ups, downs, and everything in between. Christine Teeny Tiny Tummy says, the love around you and your own determination always keeps you pushing to achieve your dreams. I'm so glad that you continue to share your story with us and share the love. SJ, you bring it 110%. Your resilience is awe-inspiring. Thank you for your bravery, your honesty, and willingness to contribute your journey with the WLS community. Love your face. Jessie VSG Greener says she's real. I appreciate that. And then I got some messages too, so hold on because I want to read this. Let's see. Jody, who loves everybody, but I think she loves you more, says, if there is ever a day when I feel like giving up or throwing in the towel, this woman turns my mood around. She is amazing, inspirational, and I love her. I'm so glad to call her my friend.
I know. I can't help myself.
Okay, Jenny. Okay, we'll go with this one. Because she wrote a long one because she's Jenny. Okay, how Nirvana has impacted my life. It took me a while to find Nirvana when I first joined the weight loss surgery community. I think someone else shared one of her videos. I went and watched it and I thought, wow, this girl was so relatable. We definitely have a very similar sense of humor. I started commenting on her stuff, and I have to admit, being a little starstruck when we became friends on Facebook. She was actually messaging me back. Much to my surprise, months later, we are BFFs. She has been there for me for everything, from kicking my butt and telling me when I'm making excuses to lifting me up when I'm depressed and think I'll never get where I'm going. She keeps me grounded, and I couldn't have come as far as I have without her behind me, kicking me in the butt and telling me to keep going. Her videos are fab. Seeing how hard she works out reminds all of us we need to step up our game too. No excuses. As she always says, I love her face, every bit of it. I feel lucky to have her in my life.
Oh, I love you guys' faces, and yeah, I'm over here like snotting all over everything because that's how I do. Hi, my name's Nirvana. Nice to meet you.
I am totally on that bandwagon. I was texting to somebody before and saying, if I can just get through this fucking thing without crying, I'll be okay. All right, so there are a couple questions for you, but I thought that one of the things that we really didn't get to last time is you have talked a lot about mental health issues and weight loss surgery and having those pre-loss. So I wanted to talk about that a little bit because I don't hear people talk about that much. So how do you want to approach that? Do you want to talk a little bit about where you were before you had surgery and what was going on?
Yeah, so I have been in 3 mental institutions when I was much younger. I was a constant cutter. Like that was just something, that helped me out. Now, one of the things that, I should probably tell you guys about is that I, not only do I have different neuroses, obviously I do, like most people do. I'm very open with them. Like a lot of people don't want to tell you what they go through. I'm pretty much like, here's my shit, deal with it or don't. It's okay. Either you like me or you don't. So before my surgery, I was completely hopeless. I had little faith that I was going to live day to day. I was always, it's gonna start. Like, I was always wondering, if I would wake up the next morning. And there was a lot of times where I was hoping I didn't, So seeing the kind of person I am today.
Yeah.
And how grateful I am to wake up and to not be in as much pain as I was in. That's something that I tell, because a lot of people come to me.
That's your cute husband.
I love you.
Aw.
Yeah, he's amazing. Like, yeah, that's my rock. That's my rock. So a lot of people, come to me and, they're in that hopeless state of, I don't know if I'm going to get surgery. I don't know how to lose my weight beforehand. I'm depressed. I want to kill. Like, I've had people come and tell me they're ready to kill themselves. I've talked to many, I've probably talked to like 40 people out of committing suicide.
I mean, honestly, if I wouldn't have had a child when I was at my heaviest, I would have probably been suicidal.
I lost my dad when I was young, and he was my best friend. And I lost my brother to obesity. I couldn't bear the thought of my mom bearing another child.
Yeah.
And my brother Lonnie was probably about 500 when he died. He had really bad sleep apnea. Like, we would be sitting here talking like this, and he would just pass out sitting straight up. So that, of course, enlarged his heart, and he'd gotten pneumonia. And, when he was 38, which is another thing that I talk about all the time is, my dad died at 38. My brother died at 38, and I will be 38 at the end of this year.
Oh, boy.
So that has been a very big goal for me, is getting healthy and living way past 38. So that's been a big driving goal for me, is to I use my life as kind of like a tribute to my brother.
Now, your mom had gastric bypass too, right?
Yeah, actually, there's quite a few people in my family who have either, they've all got gastric bypass except for one, because they got it much, much older. We have terrible genetics. Like, we just got god-awful genetics. And I don't know anyone in my family who has really kept any weight down. Everybody's either really fluffy or, they're really chunky, or they got, well, I was the biggest out of all of them. Lonnie would have been the second, but my mom got gastric bypass 5 years ago. Her sister got gastric bypass 6 years ago. I have a cousin who had gastric bypass, 4 years ago. And then, we're just trickling down the line here. Does everybody just line up and get the sleeve, just come on in, type of thing with my family. They're born and they just give them a sleeve at, in the doctor's office. Okay, go on up.
Here before you get down that road. So how did your weight affect you growing up?
God. I have never been thin. I don't know what I will look like thin because I've never seen it. I came out screaming 10 pounds, so I was a big baby, was a big toddler. School was horrendous for somebody like me. I lived in the South, very poor part of the country I was living in, and people were not only, hateful, but being as fat as I was, it was just and of course, you guys, if you watch me, I'm pretty squirrel, so my personality is.
I just have a message from Lindsay Broussard. She says, "Hey, Swirly and Liz, I'm here." You weren't here earlier, Lindsay. You have to go back and watch what I said about your community celebrations. But anyway, you're going to disappear here pretty soon.
So, school, high school, stuff like that was awful. I actually quit school right after my dad got sick, but I was already failing, and just life was just terrible, and I hated it, and it was really, really mean to me. Like, so being the fat kid in school. So not only did I play the baritone, which is a euphonium, it's one step below a tuba.
Okay.
But I also was in JROTC, so not only was I a band geek, but I was also a pickle. So, because they wear the pickle outfits. Like, I had the gambit. Like.
So did you have mental health supports as you were growing up, or only when it got to like sort of a crisis mode?
I don't know if my mom will watch this, and I hate to, like, I don't want to make her feel bad. We're
does the best that they can.
Well, where we lived, we were very poor. We didn't have a whole hell of a lot. My dad was on disability. My mom was doing her best to go through college, through vocational rehab. After her accident, there was no, there wasn't anybody for me to go see. There was no mental health, but I can remember as early as like 13, like asking for help, that I was depressed and hurting and asking, and there was nobody to take me to. Like, I don't know if you remember that far back, like probably for me, like 20 some odd years, like Charter. Do you remember the mental health?
Oh, yeah.
That was the first one we'd ever heard of. And like, it wasn't government ran, so you had to have money to go to that. So, I'd asked to go, and go seek help for my depression then.
Commercials and thinking that too. Wow,
Yeah,
I remember that. Yeah.
That was the first one. There wasn't anything else. I mean, unless you wanted to go to the
facility or whatever.
Yeah, like one of the crazy. Yeah. So.
Yeah. So when did you finally actually get diagnosed? What are your diagnoses? How did that whole process work out for you?
Well, I went to Job Corps. That's a whole story.
Which is, I have an idea of what that is, but I'm not totally sure.
Yeah, Job Corps is a state-run facility that pretty much is prison for delinquents, and they have a quota of regular people that go and get vocational rehab. So they get you your driver's license, they teach you how to do a trade, and then they send you out into the world. So it's usually mostly for delinquents, just the last step to try to rehabilitate you before they throw you in jail.
Okay.
So here I am, not even 20 years old, and I've lived in BF nowhere, and here I am in the middle of Bristol, Tennessee with I was the minority. Like everyone else there were 750 students and only 6 of us were white. Okay. So it's not I'm not being racist. I'm just telling you, like, literally, like, I was the minority, and living in the part of the South that I did, I wasn't in contact with other ethnicities, you know what I'm saying. So it was a huge shock to me. So when I got out of Job Corps,
yeah, but you didn't know that.
Yeah, I didn't know that. I didn't
know.
know.
You didn't know about Job Corps.
Yeah, I had no idea because they lied to me. They lied. That's how they get their quota filled. They lied completely.
You thought you were going to go get help.
Yeah, I thought I was going to go and get help, and I was going to get a job, and I was going to get me a car, and they'd take me to college because that's what I signed up for. Wah, wah, wah. Did not happen. But anyway, back to the mental health thing, because I could tangent. After I got out of Job Corps, I had no family. Me and my mom weren't talking at the time. My brother was dead. Life was just terrible, and I tried to kill myself. Like I literally stabbed myself, like I was doing it. And I went into one of the facilities, and it was in Johnson City, Tennessee, and they told me I was bipolar, which I'm not bipolar. So it wasn't. I tried 2 more times within the same year and didn't succeed. I was living in a boarding house. It was a very hard time for me in my early 20s. Life was just very hard. So after I went to the actual state-run facility, which was called Carrydale, which is in the middle of Knoxville, this is where they send people to forget them. Like, this is where they live. Like, you actually have people live. After I had stayed there for a month, that was the end of that. I was like, okay, well, obviously I'm not meant to die this way. I don't want to end up back in here and stay here forever, because once you get in there, they don't have to let you go. You can't sign yourself out. So that one was hard. So I didn't try again for a long time. And then they said I had borderline personality disorder, which I do have. And then, I kind of just skated by life for a long time, just kind of became an agoraphobic. Never left my house, was in a wheelchair, couldn't walk. I was in a lot of pain. And then I just kept getting fatter and fatter. So it wasn't until Matthew went into the military. It's been 3 years, 3.5 years now.
The question was how you met Matthew. You want to talk about that?
We met on a video game. So him and I met on a video game, and we didn't particularly care for each other at first. He was kind of one of the, how boys like put gum in your hair and like pull your hair? That was him. So I didn't like him at all. And, we actually became friends, and, after being in contact with each other for a while, and then it was about a year and a half before we'd actually met So we met in a video game.
Okay.
Not really that interesting. Like,
I met most of my friends over the internet these days.
Yeah.
I remember when my son, because I had always met a lot of people online. Like I had a group of moms who we all had our babies at the same time. And then I had a group like where I met Jenny that was for, women who were overweight and the guys who were attracted to them. And my son had met all these people that I'd met online. So when he started doing the video games where you start meeting other people, and I was like, Ian, I'm a little nervous about this. He's like, Mom, look at all the people you met online. They're all really nice.
yeah.
That's right. So how old were you when you guys got married?
Let's see. I met him when I was 30, and we got married. I want to say I was 31.
Okay.
Or just about to turn
And you're
32.
37 now.
Yeah. So, yeah, I was 31 because next year will be 8 years. So.
Okay, Lindsay wants to know if you're playing WoW Legion.
Actually, I'm definitely thinking about it, but not yet.
Okay, so since it was a video game thing, Okay, so you and Matthew got married, and he joined the military how long after you guys were together?
Probably about 4 years. It took him about 4 years, because I got so sick. I just got I had a death sentence of 2 years. So if he had not done something, I probably wouldn't be sitting here talking to you guys right now because my body was just giving out on me.
And so when you did that, it opened up the possibility of having surgery or other.
That one was really hard because they didn't want to touch me. Number one, I had so many things wrong with me. Mm-hmm. And my body was just giving out on me. Nobody in the military, no military doctor would touch me. Let me put it that way. So I actually had to go and find somebody in another town.
Sorry.
No, it's fine.
Dog is scratchy. Thumper.
So I had to go find somebody out of town who wasn't a military doctor that would be willing to give me a chance. And I did. And at first they told me no, and that they weren't interested in seeing me. And, I called and pleaded and made my case. I was like, if you guys will just give me a chance. Because it was their policy too. Most people don't want to take somebody 500 pounds. And I didn't know how much I weighed at that time, but I knew I weighed 500. So when I started talking to the Blue Surgery Medical Group, whatever the hell, Blue something, they had said they were going to pass and not take me. But it took me me badgering the hell out of them. And I was like, look, if you'll just meet me, just meet me. And then make your decision. So yeah, they did, and he was like, you know what? Yeah, if you will get down to 450, if you can get down to 450, I will give you surgery. And I got down to 464.
Well, and what gave? Because I know, particularly back then, but even like now, sometimes when you get in that place, that's just like, a real true depression. That's not, maybe not just situational. To get over that point where you're calling and making your case to doctors, how did you go from there to there? Because that's a big step.
Matthew was already in the military, so he was in basic training. Mm-hmm. And it was really, really hard for him. He had a lot of stumbling blocks in there. And I knew that if I didn't do something, if I didn't work as hard as I possibly could, by the time, he was ready to go to tech school and get out, like they wouldn't let me join him.
Okay.
So, it was a lot harder for me in that way because I was like, well, I don't know what to do. I couldn't travel with him and be with him unless I was starting to get my life together, because number one, no military would take me, is what I was trying to tell you. So I wouldn't have medical care.
Oh, so they wouldn't, I thought you meant they wouldn't take you to do weight loss surgery, and you're saying they wouldn't take you to provide medical care for.
Where he was going, no, I didn't have any medical care. Okay. Until we moved here. I had zero medical care until I moved here.
Okay. And so you lost down to 464, and that's when you had the RNY, and that wasn't in California, right?
No, this was in Virginia. It was Woodbridge, Virginia. And this took me 6 days a week, 4 to 5 hours a day in the pool every single solitary day except for Sunday, killing myself trying to get this weight off. I just said, screw, okay, well, we're going to try one way or the other.
Right. Right. And so as you started losing weight, did you find that, I don't know how to phrase it. Did you find in general that you started feeling better, or maybe that some of the issues with mental illness were showing up in other ways, or with other, coping mechanisms, that kind of thing?
It wasn't, I didn't see a difference in anything until I got my gallbladder removed, which I was about 418 pounds, which is when I got my gallbladder removed, and it took me about 3 weeks to heal from that. Mm-hmm. When Matthew had bought me some furniture for my birthday, because my birthday's in December, and the guys were going to deliver it, but you have to be at the gate to let them in. Mm-hmm. Well, where I was living in Dover, I couldn't there was no way for me to wheel myself up there to the gate, and Matthew was at work, so we didn't have a car. And so I had to walk. Because I couldn't wheel myself up fast enough. So I had to get up out of my chair and walk myself up to the gate and get them. And it was about roughly about a half a mile to a little over a half a mile to do that. Now, I've never walked. I've never, ever.
Yeah. It's just so easy to forget all of this stuff. I used to be terrified that something was going to happen to my son when he was little, and I would be at work in LA and it would be an earthquake or whatever. And I knew I couldn't walk, a quarter of a mile to try to get to him.
So I just said, okay, well, because the guy was like, if you don't come and get it now, I'm not bringing it back out of here. And we didn't have a car. He was a big ass jerk. And so I walked all the way there.
Inspired you by being a yes jerk.
I was like, I want my stuff. So I actually walked all the way there and back. And I was like, well, I guess I don't need my wheelchair anymore. Mm-hmm. It just took something to
push you.
Yeah, to push me out of my comfort zone. And I was like, all right, well, either I'll fall down and somebody will pick me up, or, I'll make it there. And I did.
Right. So you started feeling, now were you on antidepressants or any other kind of medication during?
I don't particularly care for antidepressants because like I told you, they told me I was bipolar. So they gave me a slew of medication. I mean, Triliptal, Geodon, Effexor, Risperdal. Just here, take this, it'll make you better. But with my, it made me miserable, and all I did was sleep, and I just, I got fatter. So it was, I was afraid to take anything else. So it hasn't been until this year to which I was willing to start any kind of.
And you're taking Wellbutrin, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's been a lifesaver for me. I think I need to up my dose. But have you found that you still like it?
We just started, we just upped me to 300. Mm-hmm. What it is that, I do bypass some of the medication, with my gastric bypass. So I'm not getting as much as I thought I was.
Okay. So and it's funny because one of your videos from the very beginning before you had surgery popped up. And I see this in my old videos too, but just the difference in personality and engagement and stuff is huge. When did you start feeling that kind of change in your personality? Or maybe you were like that with people in your life, just not on YouTube. But it's just a really different change in effect. Watching that video, I didn't even really believe it was you. Because you didn't have a Southern accent, but that's a whole other story.
Yeah, well, that's something else completely, you see.
I know, that's different. I'm like, wait a minute, where's Hey Girl Hey?
I thought, actually, I had completely dumbed myself down. I had buried myself.
Right.
Not only with food, but with, pain and just suffering and, my weight. I think this is who I've been all the time. But
that's what I think,
baby. Yeah, but I wasn't able to express myself because I felt so beaten down by being so heavy and been abused so often.
Right. So, I got a question. I got to put my glasses back on. Indira says, Nirvana, thank you for doing all my research on the patch vitamins. Can you explain the iron absorption thing? I don't know. Do you want to take a break for mental health to explain iron absorption?
Okay, so I will make a video on that because I'm still doing research on that. That's going to take a while.
Okay, so stay tuned. She will have a video on that. So I know for me, I had, because I have been on, okay, wait a minute. Here's the other thing I've noticed about you lately. We were talking about it before you got on the air. You talked about being agoraphobic before. And I mean, it seems like you have made huge, huge strides in terms of that, just even maybe over like the last year or year and a half.
Yeah.
So how did that come about?
Last year was very, very bad. Last year, the end of last year, I'm very surprised I'm still here. I'll just put it that way. And people who have been to my channel and watch me regular understand this, and you do because you and I talked about it. You know what I went through. So last year was very, very bad, and I decided that I was going to change because I needed to. What I was doing was obviously not working. There comes a time, y'all, and you know I talk like Paula Dean here, but seriously, there comes a time, that
Macaroni and cheese.
Macaroni and cheese, pecan pie. All the things I love, but so there comes a time when you're just like, you know what I've been doing all this time, it's not working. Where has it got you? Where did any of that get me besides almost a 6-foot hole in the ground and a piano crate? So I mean, what I was doing last year was not getting me anywhere. You know, I was just digging the hole. You know, I was just that's what I kind of put it in understandable times, is like, you know, I was just digging my grave. You know, everything that was going on for me was just so hard, and all the relationships.
Was that like situational? You don't have to go into specifics about what it was, but there's a difference between situational depressions and actually medical depression. And I mean, one exacerbates the other. Do you think it was like situational stuff on top of like an already, you know, a diagnosis of depression, not manic depressive, but just depression?
I suffer from moderate to severe depression. You know, oh, you asked me earlier because I forgot because I got on something else. But you know, I have a panic disorder with agoraphobia. I have PTSD. I have ADHD, and you know, the panic attacks.
Alphabet soup.
I do. I'm like, you know what? There was a grab bag of like this. I was like, okay,
and this.
Oh, PTSD. Oh, depression. Oh, you know, a grab bag of what you could get, and that's what I ended up with. But you know, I think it was situational and a lot to do with me transfer addicting to something else.
Yeah, I mean, that's been I don't know, it's just been an interesting process, because for me, I felt like for the first like year and a half, I was just on cloud 9 of having lost all this weight and being able to exist in the world again in a different level. But then life gets real and you don't have your coping mechanisms that you're used to using.
Yeah.
And that sort of sucks, man.
That was my second year out. My second year out was the hardest year, because, you know, the first year you're losing all that weight.
Well, see, that's what I've been talking about with a lot of different people. It's like this 2-year, like right after 2 year, because you've, you know, lost a big part of your weight, and you've also had time to get used to being more normal.
Yeah.
So all that gratitude that you may have had originally, you start to forget about it, because now this is just your life, and then shit happens, like shit always does happen. And like, oh, wait a minute, but I always dealt with this by numbing out with food, and I can't do that anymore.
Yeah.
Fuck. I didn't like that part.
Well, unfortunately, you know, for gastric bypass people, we can. And a lot of us do abuse food after gastric bypass.
Well, I mean, you can't abuse it the way you did before, right?
No, I mean, you can't binge eat.
Different. I mean, I can eat to make myself uncomfortable, which is of course a lot less than it used to be, but it's just so uncomfortable now that it's not a good payoff.
No, and we do dump. Well, most of us dump, not everybody dumps, but you know, we will eat things that, you know, just it's punishment. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
year 2 was your toughest year, and how did you sort of pop out of that. And don't forget to tell me what brain painting is if I forget to ask it.
Oh, yeah. So I hit rock bottom last year, like 100%. Like, I mean, the smack dab rock. I was scraping the barrel and I was digging up my fingernails trying to get the bottom of it. Last year was bad. I realized that I was doing the exact same thing I did before my gastric bypass, which is what I just gave up. Like, I was like, okay, well, obviously this isn't working. I haven't lost any more weight. I'm miserable. You know, I feel like crap. I'm depressed all the time, you know. And that's when, you know, I tried again, you know, and thank God I didn't succeed, and decided to get help. Lots. And that's what I talk about. You know, a lot of people are like, oh, therapy, no. And I'm like, no. Groups. I go to groups every week. I go to therapy every week. I go to brain painting every week. When I decided that obviously I'm here for some other purpose, when I finally was just like, okay, you know what, just get my head out of my ass. Like, that's what it takes for me anyway.
I hear you. Yeah. And so you had this decision, and were you seeing a therapist before, or this was a new relationship?
I was seeing a therapist. I'm seeing the same therapist. Well, I was seeing two at the same time, but it wasn't nearly as in depth. Like,
right.
The issues that I was having was not nearly as in depth, and I didn't go to any groups or anything like that. Like, I had to fully immerse myself.
Yeah, I totally feel like you have to. I've said this a lot of times on my channel, is that after my ex-husband died, I had just so happened to sign up to be with a therapist who was becoming a psychoanalyst. And so I saw her for a year, 4 days a week, for like practically nothing, for like no money. I think I'm getting ready to call her this week and see if she'll do that again. But I had gone to therapy forever, once a week or whatever. And I don't think I would have ever I would have never even had weight loss surgery if I wouldn't have had that really intense time therapy to, number one, realize all the screwed up things I was telling myself, and to just get me out of it. I mean, I just don't think it's horrible to say, but I don't think once a week ain't enough.
No, I actually have to, I have to go multiple times a year. A week. I go multiple times a week, just mostly because I haven't been able to fix myself without fully immersing myself in it.
Yeah. So what is brain painting? Because that's one of the,
it's called neurofeedback. And what we pretty much do is that it's kind of odd to actually like witness. I sit and listen to different brain patterns. So it's actually tweaking my brain waves.
Oh, okay. So I've worked a lot in autism, and they use this.
Yeah.
Kids with autism sometimes too. Okay.
So with depression and anxiety.
Why do they call it brain painting?
I don't really know.
Well, we need to look that up. Hey, Christine, are you around? Can you go look that up?
I think it's because you know how those little pictures and stuff
well,
of like,
I was thinking like your or whatever, CAT scan, MRI, whatever it is of your head, that it's lighting up different parts of the brain, and
it does. Yeah, and you see it. You can see the waves and everything. It's actually really neat.
Here, who does a lot of that for different things. Daniel Amen, I think is his name. Okay, see, I thought it was, this is called brain painting. I thought it was some kind of creative endeavor that you were doing.
Oh, no.
Where you were actually painting. See, that's what. Okay, we have another question from Indira. She wants to know if you have depression in the family, or is it just you? I ask because it seems that it sometimes runs in families. I have a few family members with deep chemical depression. I have some issues with it, but milder than they have.
No, I do. I have my mother, my brother suffered with it. It runs rampant in my family, like rampant. Yeah.
So let's talk about, do you have thoughts after having been through all of this on what could be helpful to other people in the community experiencing this and not able to reach out about it or overshare so that everyone's calling them?
All right, so ask the question again. Like,
do you have suggestions? So like you're very vocal in the community, and when you were going through this, I mean, you weren't putting everything out there, but it was very clear that you were going through.
Yeah.
And I'm sure you were getting feedback and stuff like that. I mean, I've been doing that a little bit recently, getting lots of feedback. But there are other people who don't make videos, who don't have the connections within the community, who may not even know what to do about it. I guess I was just asking if you had any suggestions.
You know, I tell people all the time.
And Christine looked up rain painting. Thank you, Christine.
Thanks, Christine.
I will post the link when we're done.
So it's actually what I talk about on my videos a lot. You know, it's okay. It is absolutely 100% okay to reach out. Like, there are so many people in the community that deal with this that just don't talk about it.
Right.
Like, you know, it's so taboo to talk about suicide. It's so taboo to talk about, you know, depression or anything like that.
That's what Gracie and I were talking about when she was here for her birthday, because it seems like, you know, everybody makes videos up until, you know, like that first year, you got tons of videos about what to eat and what to exercise. But at this point that I'm calling like the 2-year mental health mindfuck of weight loss surgery, almost everybody stopped making videos. I mean, recently, you know, Melly May made a great video, Gracie did, but I mean, you don't have a lot of those examples to see, to know that you're not alone in doing this. And trust me, if you're feeling this, you are not alone.
No, like, there's so many people. And you know what? I find which is the reason why I do, you know, somebody asked me, they were like, are you ever going to stop making videos? And I said, I think the weight loss community needs me, you know? And she was like, or do you need them? And I said, actually, I think it's both.
Yeah, it's both.
You know, I absolutely need you guys as much as you need me. But I pride myself on the fact that, you know, I do share all of it. I tell you the good stuff, the bad stuff. You know, I don't skimp on, you know, on the stuff that I go through, because I really do want to have people be like, okay, well, you know, my life is awful. Has anybody made it? Anybody? Right. Is there somebody out there? Anyone?
Well, part of the problem is too, it's like people in their videos, when they're a lot of times making videos, when they're in the happiest part of this. So then you could watch that and think, oh my God, well, look at them. They did so great and they're so wonderfully happy. But this is a big adjustment, people. I mean, this is huge when you're going from being 400 pounds or 500 pounds to, and using food to cope with everything. Because trust me, I remember when I went to my pre-op class, it wasn't even pre-op, I hadn't even decided to do surgery, but like the introduction class. And the guy's like, if you eat because you're not hungry, the surgery's not gonna work for you. I'm like, excuse me? Do you think anybody in this room is eating only because they're hungry? And I sort of get what he means now, because there's ways you can, you know, if you want to work around it, I get that. But, you know, it's a huge change when you've coped. I mean, you don't get to be 300 pounds without eating to from feeling things and to escape from the world. And so it doesn't just all magically go away because you get thinner.
No, it doesn't go away at all.
Shock when it doesn't.
Well, you know, I think a lot of people assume that most of what they're going through is weight related. I think that's, you know, most people are like, oh yeah, you know what, once I won't be so depressed, I won't have all this anxiety because I look better and I feel better. What's underneath all of this, you know, is still going to be there no matter how much you weigh.
Yeah. Yep. So I would also encourage people to reach out if there's somebody, if you're feeling that and there's somebody that you connect with who makes videos. I mean, everybody is so wonderful in terms of talking to people, and there's mental health resources everywhere. And I mean, if you're somewhere and you can't find something, message me and I'll help you find something. I'll put Christine on it and she will get you a place. So, but I just know there are a lot of people who suffer with this stuff without saying anything. There are people who are watching our videos who never comment or whatever, who are going through this stuff all by themselves. And I feel very fortunate, you know, to have this community and to have friends like I never did before. Yeah. But it's a really wonderful community, and somebody will help you if you're in a situation where you're feeling really desperate. So is there anything else mental health related you want to talk about, or can we ask you some questions?
You can ask me some questions.
Okay. So I don't know who sent this question, because it's somebody who I don't have their phone number in my phone. It's a 360 area code. So if that's you, tell me who it is. They want to know what are you going to do if these final revisions don't work out the way you want them to?
So that's something I've definitely been thinking about a lot.
The
Because
one thing we didn't talk about was your ultimate goal in all of this.
okay, so I want a baby. I want a baby, and I want to be able to get my wings of freedom removed, which is what I call them. So my ultimate goal is being able to be healthy. I'm not, guys, like a lot of people are like, oh, when you get down to 150, which I have no interest of getting to 150, mind you, you're going to be so beautiful. You're going to be so lovely. I mean, you're gorgeous now, but just imagine when you're not fat anymore. I do get that a lot. Or you have such a pretty face, and I'm like,
I hate that.
I'm like, okay, but my ultimate goal is being healthy enough to have a baby or being able to foster, adopt, and be able to run around with them and have fun and, do all the cool parent stuff, which, right now, yes, I can do a lot, but I'm still tired and I still hurt and my joints are god awful. So if it doesn't work for me, you know what? I'm just going to keep working out and doing what I'm supposed to. Like, I do not give up. I don't know. That is no longer in my vocabulary. Like,
Right.
I've tried so many times to give up and it didn't work. I'm here for something. So there is no giving up on this. So one way or the other, even if I'm still 300 pounds a year from now, well, I'll just be 300 pounds a year from now, but I will definitely do my damnedest to
You'll be a stronger 300 pounds and
live.
you'll be a more muscular 300 pounds. Sarah Harrison wants to know what your favorite NSV so far is.
When people ask me that, it was getting out of my wheelchair. Like, that's my favorite thing that I've ever done, is not having to use that anymore.
We talked about, Penny had asked how you and Matthew met, which we talked about. Christina VSG Schultz says, not a question, but I want Nirvana to know she has done amazing and brings so much encouragement and motivation to the community.
Love your face.
Jenny says, if there ever was a show she was sad she couldn't tune in live to, well, she should have got up earlier.
Oh. No, she's actually at work. Like, she's at work right now.
I forgot. Oh, that's true. Okay, sorry. Jeannie Bascoy says she's very proud of you. My question for you is, what would your recommendations be to somebody just starting out on this process? 3 things that you would recommend for them to do to be successful.
I say this all the time. You have to fix this, number 1. Like, you absolutely have to start. I think it should be mandatory for you to do therapy. I think anybody who's going to have a weight loss surgery needs to have constant therapy. Now, I'm not saying you have to be on medication, but I am saying, like, you need someone to talk to, because this is one hell of a ride. The next thing is that you have to learn what to put in your face. Because once that year is over and everything is opened back up to you, alcohol, any food you want, carbs, sugars, whatever, it's ultimately up to you at that point what you're going to do with your life. And then, the last thing is, a lot of people just assume, they get the weight off, they don't have to exercise. Like, that is so important. And do it as early as you can, because it's only going to help you further along.
And it's going to keep you from losing as much muscle mass when you're just starting out and eating like 12 calories a day.
Yeah. So as soon as you can.
Building is much better than cardio in the very beginning.
Yeah. I mean, just
right.
Sometimes
corrects me about that. So Pete, I'm sure will correct me. So I know anything else you want to tell people or talk about?
Mostly, guys, this is the second time I've been on, and I deeply appreciate the chance to share my crazy story. The one thing that I strive to share with you guys is just don't give up. Like, just no matter if you regain, no matter if you didn't lose all of your weight, no matter if, you start, because I have people who come to me like, I gained 160 pounds, like after my gastric bypass, and I don't know what to do. Don't give up. Like, that's,
yeah.
Like there's so much more you can do for yourself. Like if you will just try, like just going to the gym and, well, I'm scared. I don't know how to use the machines. Well, ask somebody, like there are people at the gym who run it. Go and ask them how to use the machine. Start off with 2 minutes on the treadmill. I have videos. You can go all the way back. God, I have almost 500, so I know. But you can go almost all the way back where I could only do, 3 minutes on the treadmill, and I was crying. I was in so much pain. I would only do 5 minutes on the bike. Now I can't even do cardio because it didn't do nothing for me. So, I mean, there comes a time where you build so much, your body gets used to the cardio. And you have to switch it up to get it to burn. But that's how much I've been able to do.
Indira says she sees you at the gym and that has really encouraged her to go back and work out. She wants to know what your gym routine is, if you have one, or do you have a video about that?
I have like 89 bajillion videos of me going to the gym. Like I throw it up there, and if you guys want to go look at it, that's what I do. My channel is Experiencing Nirvana, and I'm sure that she'll forget to put the little thing down at the bottom.
Always do forget.
So she will forget. But it's Experiencing Nirvana
when the show posts.
But yeah, so I don't have a set routine right now, mostly because the lady I work out with got switched to schedules. So she's working nights now. So now we have to try to figure out when we can meet. But I do weight training, I do cardio, I do HIIT classes, I do dance class. Like if it's at the gym, my ass gets to it. And I'm like, it might not look that great when you guys are looking in on me, when they're like, the hell is she doing? But I still do it.
Yep.
Like I still get in there and try.
Yeah. So you did the actors are inside the Naked Truth questions last time. Do you want to do them again?
Yeah.
Okay. What's your favorite word?
I was gonna say fuck.
What's your other favorite word?
What?
What's your other favorite word?
I'm awful. I'm sorry. Bad Nirvana. I'm gonna say my other favorite word. I have no idea.
Okay. What's your least favorite word?
Most people say moist.
I know.
Moist.
I don't hate the word that much, moist.
I don't really hate the word moist. I mean, depending on the context, I could be like, ooh. But pus. The word pus.
Yeah, to me, that is much grosser than moist.
Gross.
What turns you on creative, spiritually, or emotionally?
I'm very intellectual. So what turns me on the most is having a very intellectual connection with somebody.
What's your favorite curse word?
I already said that. I said fuck.
What sound or noise do you love?
My dog's snorting. My little Pekingese snorting up.
My mom's dogs do that. It makes me crazy.
What are you doing?
What sound or noise do you hate? Maybe Matthew should answer these questions instead.
Nope.
Nope. He's like, bye. I cannot stand the sound of my dogs going. You know how like they'll lick their nose? I can't stand it.
Okay.
Yeah.
What profession other than your own would you like to attempt?
Like profession that I would like to be. Like, I'd like to be a beriatric liaison. That's what I'd like to be, which is the same thing I said last time.
Okay. What profession would you not like to do?
I wouldn't like to be a roto-rooter.
The actual machine versus, or the guy who does it?
The guy who has to get the poop.
Okay, guy. I'm sure there are girls who do that.
Yeah, I don't want to do that.
If heaven exists, what would you like to hear God say when you arrive at the pearly gates?
Hey, girl, hey.
So you know he's been listening.
I know it.
So really quick, I just want to thank everybody who's responded and offered to send my mom a card. I went to see her today. She is having a really hard time. So that is going to mean a lot. And it is going to fucking kill me if we all go to South America for my brother's wedding and she's still there. So if you would like to send her a card and you don't have the information, let me know. She got really, when I told her, because I was like, she's like, I haven't been able to communicate with anybody. I'm like, you're going to be getting some mail soon. My brother's mailed stuff to you. You're going to be getting some mail. You're going to be getting a lot of mail. She was like, from who? I said, from my YouTube people. She was like, it didn't embarrass you to tell them about this? I'm like, fuck no, you're getting your rights violated. It doesn't embarrass me. So anyway, I just want to thank everybody who's doing that because it's really going to mean a lot to her. And she doesn't get teary often like me, but she got teary when we were talking about that you guys were going to send her cards. And you know what? I don't know who the guest is going to be next week. I don't know. I put out a couple requests and I haven't heard back yet. And I may need to take a break next week. We're just going to kind of see how things go. But the following week, I do have a guest who has never been on, I don't think, any show. And I do not understand why. But Sarah Harrison Robeson is going to be on the 28th. So everybody loves her. I love her. I love her laugh. So just having her be on here and laugh for a little while will be awesome. So thank you guys for watching and for all your love and support. Thank you, Nirvana, for being here. And we'll see you guys maybe next week, maybe 2 weeks. I'll let you know. Okay, bye.